Welcome back to the Justin Wenzel podcast. On this show, we like to feature guests that have a story to tell, and they're using their experience and their story to help other individuals, all while creating a business for themselves. And today we have a really special guest. We have Bronson Jenkins, man. What's up, dude?
How we doing, brother?
Dude, I'm stoked to have you on here. So you signed up with us, a few months ago?
Yeah, somewhere like 6.
And you are one of the youngest coaches that we have worked with. And it's been really cool to watch you. And I remember when you first signed up, usually guys like you, not guys like you, but guys your age are scared to death. And you were like, let's fucking go. I'm down. Fast decision making, fast acting. You got in, you started creating content, you went over everything. What's different about you than other guys your age that just makes you, boom,
Well, I'll quote what you told me on that phone call. You said, "I got fucking balls." That's what you told me. I don't know, man. I've always been a little bit different than the crowd I've been surrounded by, and I've known that I feel like I have a different energy to me than most people, and I feel that I do have more that I want to achieve than most people. And I've learned and I've seen from other people that you can't not take risk and get there. And I set my mind to what I wanted to do, and I ran into you, and I knew that's what I wanted, and here we are 6 months later, man.
That's awesome. Growing up, though, I mean, were you surrounded around a lot of risk-taking? Were you surrounded around a lot of winning, or was it more you wanted to get out of the environment that you were in?
You know, growing up, it was kind of interesting. Dad retired early. He was on permanent disability. He started to fall off his route. My mom's kind of worked 9 to 5 her whole life. So I never really saw that kind of go-getter, the entrepreneur kind of mindset. My bubble as to what I knew was available was very, very small. And then as I started to grow up with obviously media, you get to see these different lifestyles, different ways that people go about living that I'd never seen before. And I knew that that was something I wanted, right? I didn't want to go that same path. My grandparents didn't do what they did for my parents. My parents didn't do what they did for me to be in the same shoes as them. So I figured it's up for me to take that next step and climb that tree.
I love that. So we were talking a little bit about this earlier, but you graduated during like the peak of the quarantine, the pandemic. Obviously,
Yep.
you weren't in a classroom. Your senior year of high school, what was that like?
Honestly, not bad. I mean, I wish I did have that experience of being senior on campus or whatever. But it was good for me to be able to be out of a classroom because I didn't like school. I never did. I'm a smart guy. I just didn't want to apply myself because I didn't like what I was learning. You know, I've always thought that if I'm passionate about something, I can really push it. But if I'm not, then I just don't have any fire there. So it was a different experience, but I don't think I would trade it because I'm where I am now and everything's kind of added up the way I'd hope it would.
A lot of, I know quite a few guys your age that went through the same exact experience and they didn't go the route of college. And earlier you'd mentioned that, social media and seeing what was out there kind of influenced your decision making and obviously your vision for your life. Why not college?
So when I came out of high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I did know that I did not want to go to college.
Wow.
Because I did not want to be in another classroom. I did not like the idea of the first 2 years of extended high school, doing things that I know I'm not passionate about, learning information that I don't really care about, right? And in this modern day, with the modern age, with all the media and stuff, there are ways that you can make a living outside of that, right? And more people now than ever are starting to not go to college. And there's more opportunities there now than there ever has been before. And I knew that I could be part of that statistic and that college wouldn't serve me, especially with my personality. I'm sure I would have fallen off the wing a little bit in terms of fitness, mental health, just my overall lifestyle. If I went to college, probably would have gone down a route I shouldn't be going into.
You hear a lot about guys that end up going to college and obviously they have to extend themselves financially. Then the stresses of being in school and also trying to keep up with your peers and the partying and just the lifestyle being in college, it can be distracting and it can be tough. I know for myself, I took some time after high school and then I went to college. And that was basically what happened with me, right? Is that like I started falling in to the more of the partying and more of that kind of stuff, and then the stresses from school and all of the other things. It was like, what did I really get out of it? And as a matter of fact, what I learned in school, I didn't even use in my adult life. Come to find out that college is kind of a scam for most people, unless you're going to be like a doctor, lawyer, or something like that. If you're going, like a lot of people go to school to be in business. You don't have to go to college to be in business. In fact, most of the best business owners are not. But would you agree that for most people, college is a scam?
Absolutely. Like you said, like if you know that you need that to get to where you need to be, like a doctor or a lawyer, obviously you have to go. But if you're just doing it for the sake of being in some sort of realm of whatever it is you're learning, I do think it's a scam for most. And if you're not going to use it, then it's like, what are you even dropping all that for in the first place?
So going straight into entrepreneurship, this has been a journey.
Yeah.
It's cool though. You're obviously a really smart guy. And getting to work with you, like I said, I've watched you take action and I've watched you be very strategic. And you have a great personality. It's fantastic to watch you grow with us and all of that good stuff. And you weren't set up for that, you know? So wanting to be different, wanting to kind of break the mold was a great achievement. Yeah. Just right away, just to be able to be your age and say, this is the route that I want to take my life. You're strong as shit too.
Thanks.
Yeah, you hung with me.
I tried.
No, you hung with me. That's really good. Really good. You like the more fast, explosive reps. I like the slow stuff. I'm old. I creak and crick and crack. But you're strong, dude. You have very matured muscle for somebody your age. You know, I'm killing it. And natty.
Yes, sir.
God damn.
Yeah. No false claims.
Yeah, I almost don't believe you, but I do just because of your age. But it's pretty fantastic. So you weren't always strong though. You were a gainer.
Yeah. So I mean, I was like your chunky kid until I got taller. I kind of stretched out, and then I was $160 or slightly over 6 foot in high school, skinny guy, and then I.
Were you a surfer?
No. I look like I should have been. But
Yeah.
I was a skater. I skated, BMX, all that kind of stuff. I was just kids, shits and giggles, just having fun. And then I took weight training in high school, and that set me off.
How was that?
I had a wonderful teacher. She had a big class to deal with. It wasn't the most intense kind of guides, and like you were just kind of going with the wind. But by the end of the year, I was like, I love this. I'm going to pursue this. And then flash forward almost 6 years now. Here we are.
And that's, so all of that, like building your body, building your business, all of that. You mentioned something via text that, you wanted to redefine the last name Jenkins.
Yes, sir.
Explain.
So my dad's an interesting character. He is actually where I get most of my character. But the interesting thing about that is I actually never really got to meet that side of him. What does that mean? It means that the man that he is today, the man that I've grown up with as a father, is not the man that I get my character from, and it is not the man that my mom had initially married. He's had all his life kind of thrown at him, and it's taken him in all these different directions. But who he is today is not who I get my character from.
Interesting.
And he has other sons, which would be my half-brothers, and they've kind of followed in his footsteps, kind of towards that darker path, living the life that, I don't think anyone really would want to live. So I always, I've always said that I feel like I'm a high value man with a low value last name. And my goal is to change that.
Wow. It's an incredible thing to say. And to recognize, when you say what the character is this from stories that you heard about your father?
Yeah.
And then and what do you think caused him to lose the way?
Drugs, number one, dabbling into drugs. And then that leads to trying to get sober, relapse, trying to get sober. Now you're on all these different medications. You find a medication that makes you feel a certain type of way as an addict, you're going to start overdoing that medication. I'm growing up, he's overdosing on his medications, and I don't know what it is. I'm like, oh, Dad's having a seizure, whatever. I don't know what's going on. And then as I get older, I start to kind of learn the depths of it. Yeah. And actually understand what's going on. And I can't blame the guy. Like when you really look at everything laid out, he's been playing with the cards he's been dealt. Has he made some bad decisions? Yeah, but I think we all have. So I can't really blame it to him. But something I've told him that I'm sure it hurt to hear, but it's truth and it comes out of a love from your son is you've shown me more what not to be as a man than what to be as a man.
Interesting. Probably in a lot of cases be a better, I know for a lot of people too, it's a better learning experience than, watching constant winning and stuff like that to where you end up taking advantage of it, or taking it for granted. Wow. So what does that look like then in terms of like your vision, your routine? Are you rigid? Do you have some fun? What does a normal day look like?
I'd say I'm a pretty balanced individual. The one thing I won't ever sacrifice in terms of wanting to build the life I want is just the quality of life. If I can't enjoy myself throughout my daily actions and love what I do, I don't want to do it. Hence why I didn't go to college and I don't do certain things that other people enjoy doing. But I want to get into a position where I can work very hard and really grow into my business and help change other people's lives, including my own, right? And just make it in a way where I can work nonstop and I can always kind of be in that grind mode, but in a way that it's so enjoyable and so impactful for myself and those around me that it's all worth it.
And being in fitness, it definitely, you get surrounded around that, right? Like it's like constant, like being better, positivity. But tell me this, in terms of body image, how do you feel body image reflects on self-worth?
I always tell people this, when you leave the gym, you walk out with a slight pump. You might have done a little bit of progress there. The best things you walk out with are self-confidence, self-respect, and self-esteem, because you're taking the time out of your day to take care of yourself. And I love to tell people that working out is not a physical challenge, right? The only thing physical about working out is learning the basics the first few times you go. Everything past there is mental. Showing up is mental, right? Pushing through heavy weight is mental. Your mind's gonna give up 99% of the time before your body does, right? So it's a mental challenge. And I can tell anyone who has a good physique, there's a mutual respect there, right? No matter how you did it, no matter what you're doing, whatever it is, if you have a good physique, you've put the time in, you have that discipline, you have dedication, you can commit, you've learned the art of delayed gratification. You have a lot of qualities that are very high qualities to have, and it makes it very easy to respect someone in that sense. And you can show that you respect yourself.
Yeah, no doubt. It's funny because you see guys, tons of guys loaded, right? They pull up in a Ferrari or whatever, and they get out, they squeeze out, right? And gut, tits, all of that, and it's like, dog, it's unacceptable, right? To be able to be so successful in so many areas and then completely disrespect yourself internally, externally, and every other which way, But a lot of people don't see the importance of it. What would you tell somebody that's like just letting themselves go? What's the first thing you would tell someone?
Man, I feel like there's a couple ways you can go about that. I would definitely say that if there's one thing that can impact your life in the most directions possible at the same time, it's your physical health, right? Because your physical health translates straight to your mental. They say the quickest way to change your mental state is to move your body physically. Like if you can get in tune with your body, which then helps you get in tune with your mind, and you just feel better in your own skin. If you're a businessman, you're gonna succeed better in business, right? Seeing a strong, fit man with a healthy business is a lot more intriguing, and you're gonna have a lot more opportunities, and you're just a killer, right? You could have all the money in the world, but if you can't see your toes, people are gonna look at you and they're gonna have some kind of thoughts behind that as to like, okay, like what is this guy really about if he can't take care of himself at the end of the day?
I also look at it as credibility, right? Like how many times have you lied to yourself? I'll start Monday. Oh, next week. I'm going on vacation when I get back, I'm gonna start then. It's like, no, you're not. Your credibility is completely shot and you wear it from the chin down. Mm-hmm. That's rough. Yeah. It's hard to wake up and know that you're going to continuously lie to yourself. And then your credibility gets shot, so then your self-worth is completely shot. Your confidence is non-existent. I mean, muscles are one thing, but that mental strength you're talking about is a whole different thing. I was fucking around on ChatGPT the other day, and I told you a little bit about this, but I asked it, I was like, what percentage of the population is sober, multimillionaires, and has a six-pack, that combination? And the way ChatGPT said it back to me, and of course it's trained to talk like me, was like, you're talking a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction, maybe 1 in a million, if that, has that kind of combination where you're clear-headed and focused, where you have a chiseled body, like a six-pack, and that you're able to make the income that you want. Why do you think most people struggle to get all of it?
It's just too hard.
It's too hard.
I don't think that specific outcome is meant for everybody. And I think that's a great thing, because then it gives people that do want that challenge the opportunity to do so, right? If everyone could go out and get it, then it's no longer special. It doesn't hold as much value as it has, right? It's limited edition. It's a limited edition lifestyle.
1 in a million, I mean, you would think it's not, I've been able to achieve it, right? And I was the biggest fuck up in the world. So it is a matter of literally just doing the damn thing. Mm-hmm. What's his name? Who said this? Getting this stuff is simple. It's just hard. It's simple. It's just hard.
And that's the same as when people say everyone knows what to do, but no one does it.
Right.
Everyone knows where they slack. Everyone knows where they need to clean up, but you just don't do it. Yep. I do it sometimes too. And kind of back to what you were saying, the worst person you can lie to is yourself. Right? And the problem is people make these huge promises, right? I'm gonna go run 5 miles every day for the next 3 months. It's like, dude, go run a half mile. Do it once a week, right? Start with these small wins, because all that does is build momentum, right? And if you have the momentum of constantly lying to yourself, as soon as something comes out of your mouth, a promise to yourself, you know you're not gonna do it. And then there goes your self-esteem, there goes your confidence. You know you don't have that in you, but you're also stacking those losses on top of yourself, right? Rather than stacking wins, creating that momentum.
Yeah. So you've been training for a little while. I mean, obviously training people, and you switched from in person to online.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest differences are?
I'd say the biggest difference is the level of depth within the impact, right? So when you're training in person, you're limited, right? You have to be in a physical place with somebody else. You can only work so many hours in a day. But the depth of connection you can have with someone, seeing them in person, especially on a regular basis, is extremely deep. Right? It's like a little puddle, but that thing goes all the way through to the bottom of the floor.
Okay.
Right? But when you look at something like online coaching, you have an ability to impact thousands of lives, right? You can impact as many people as you can get outreach to. But it's just not going to be as deep of a level. But there's also a way that you can go about doing that to where you can still make a very big impact on people. And I love the way that you do it, because you make an impact on people that don't even work with you. There's thousands of people that follow you, and you have made a huge impact on their life, and you've probably never had a conversation with them.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that reaches out, I try to make sure to give them some attention for the most part, unless they're just weirdos. But anyone that's genuine, I try to give them some attention. I disagree. I disagree that power of proximity in terms of being physically close reduces the level of impact and connection with the person. I've never trained somebody in person. Okay, so I don't. So maybe I can disagree without any experience on that level, but what I will tell you is that I know a lot of people that do train, and I know a lot of people that have hired personal trainers, and good ones and bad ones. But my connection with them, my impact in their life is far greater using Zoom, right, than what they've gotten in the past from the people that they saw a few times a week in person. I think it's how you deliver. I think it's your approach. I think it's the experience that you create on a digital platform. If you can create an experience that is all-encompassing in terms of what your client actually needs, great communication, right? Because I'll tell you this much, I can communicate faster and more effectively over the phone more frequently than somebody can think, oh, when I go see that person this afternoon, my trainer, I've got to remember to say this, this, and this. You know what I mean? There's other people around, things like that. I can communicate way more effectively when I have somebody on a screen in front of me, in my office, right? And bring them in with me. And I think that as you grow this thing, understanding that, like, there's a reason that we wanted you guys to set your rooms up the way that you did. There's a reason we wanted you to have the good angles and the good lighting in your office when you're on Zoom calls with clients. We want to give them an experience to where they feel like they're in the room with you. But the level of frequency and attention that you can give somebody on a digital format or platform it can be great. It can be really great.
You know, I think you might have just changed my mind.
Well, I didn't.
Well, if you think about it, when I come in, if someone's coming in to train with me in person, you know, I meet you for the first time, we have our conversation, but we're doing the dirty work together, right? You're working out, I'm guiding you through your form and all this and that. We get a couple chats in between sets. That's it. See you tomorrow. You know, but online, especially that initial call you have with people, getting to know them. You can get deep on a phone call like that. And you're not with them through the workout side of things. They're doing that kind of dirty work on their own. You check in with them on a mental state, right? You check in on them where they're mentally at and where their emotions are at with everything, right? You can see the numbers you can see what they're doing. You can see how the workouts are going. That's fine. But you're kind of there to make sure that the mental's intact, they're emotionally feeling good. And I think that does have a lot of potential to really impact someone deeply.
I think the difference too is that when it's on your own terms, right, at home, when you're in the gym and you are sitting with somebody, you're on the clock. You're typically in somebody else's facility. It's another job. But when it's your own business and you've designed the whole experience for that person to deliver it to them, it has a totally different impact. You have probably more care because it's now your name on the sign.
Absolutely.
It's not 24-hour fitness or Equinox or whatever. It's your name on the sign. It's your business. It's your baby. And you want to make sure that you give your people the best experience possible. And you have, like I said, just the power of connectivity, like just being able to, get through to somebody, whether it's through your platform, through the messenger, Zoom calls and so on and so forth. It's just up to you to make that experience great. You know what I mean? Most people will say, like, when they come into JWX, like, we see them on a digital format only. We only see them on Zoom, stuff like that. And then they come out to Huntington, and it's like the same thing. It's like no different, right? Same experience, same personalities, same people, same vibe. All of it's the same. Well, of course, we wanted to deliver a really in-person feel on a digital platform. And I think we succeeded,
100%. I can testify to that, man. Absolutely.
But and that was important to me because I think that social media is amazing. Online coaching is amazing. It changed my life. It's changing your life. It changes so many people's lives to where they have great opportunities to work from wherever and deliver their passion to somebody else and live their purpose. But if you can't deliver it authentically, and if you really care about giving an experience that is truly second to none, you got to find a way to make it work. What does growth mean to you now?
I think growth to me is going to be two levels of growth. It's going to be my own personal growth and then my growth of impact. So I want to grow myself physically, obviously. That's a big one for me. I want the mental growth, the financial growth, the business growth, all that's great. But also the growth of impact, right? I have made such a small little dent on locally where I live, the slight outreach I'm starting to display out there to the world on the media. But I want to grow my impact. I want to get to the point where people can, because even I've had a few people, they're like, dude, you told me something 2 weeks ago. I'm down 5 pounds, or whatever the case may be. I feel great. My girlfriend thinks I look better now. My wife loves me again. Those kind of impacts are huge. So my goal is to grow that as much as I can and make that impact on their lives as well as my own.
It's fantastic. I love that. Having intentions like that will make or break you in an industry like this too. I truly believe that if you try to put the money before the breakthrough, that you're going to fall on your face. But a great coach, a great mentor, a great pastor, whatever it is, whatever your style of leadership, if your focus is purely on profit, it's going to show. You're going to start to look desperate, sleazy, slime ball, whatever. But when you really focus on the actual breakthrough for somebody, that energy, it blows up exponentially and it makes things really good for both the client and for yourself. It's more rewarding. Now, of course, there's financial benefit that comes from it as well. But a lot of people lead with the dough. Do you see that?
Absolutely. And I can't blame people, right? We live in a very competitive world, very expensive world, especially where we're located, on the California side. It's a very expensive place to be. So you have to find a way to make it work. But if you can't do that with good intentions that come frontline to that, then it's going to be a lot tougher for you, like you said, to truly get to where you want to be, right? You can sign your first 3 clients. You can just be money, money, money and try to get as far as you can with that. And you might do all right, but you're not going to leave the impact you were hoping to leave. You're not going to come across as like a genuine person that people can enjoy being around or just enjoy sifting through their content, right? I want to be in a position to where the last thing people think about when they see me is like, oh, this guy's got money. I want to be like, oh, this guy's fit as hell and he's helped a lot of people. That's kind of the vibe I'm going for.
It's a good vibe.
Yeah.
It's a really good vibe.
Yeah.
I love that. So backing up, let's say Tiny Bronson, what would you tell your 16-year-old self?
Pick up some damn weight.
Pick up some weights.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is like they always talk about like, what's your why, right? If your reason to not do something is bigger than your reason for wanting to do it, you're not going to do it, right? You need to have a reason so compelling as to why you want to do something that you're going to do it, right? If you were to tell me, give me $10,000 by next weekend or I'm going to chop off your right foot, I'll be damned if I'm not getting that $10,000, right? Because it's a sense of urgency, right? You need to have a sense of urgency in what you do. And I struggle with that. I'm trying to find that reasoning why, find that deepest like urgency that I can create to really just try to get after it every day. Because I think urgency is everything.
It's true. We used to say, if you have a good salesman who performs average, get him some debt. Tell him to buy a boat, buy a motorcycle. You know what I mean? Like, get some debt. Because, sometimes backing yourself into a corner, puts you in a situation where it's like it's do or die. And that's not in a desperate mode. That's just in a grind. Because to get to a point where you can justify backing yourself into a corner, right, you can typically trick your brain into keeping that same urgency, that same momentum, right? You realize, I got here. Now I got to do the steps that it took for me to get here to begin with over and over and over again. So the urgency has to be there. The consistency is a non-negotiable. And then obviously executing on the things that you say you're going to do constantly. And I like writing your goals down. Do you write your goals down?
I do.
You do? Yeah. Have you ever struggled writing your goals down?
Yeah.
And put it off.
I put it off. I have different time frames I'll work within. I have like the lifetime goal. I have the yearly goal, the monthly goal, the daily goal. Right, what's the goal before noon today? That kind of stuff. But I think it can be kind of screw up your rhythm if you're making goals and you're not hitting them.
Yeah.
Right. And I do think that there's a side to like shoot for the stars, land on the moon kind of thing. Like you should shoot for very high goals sometimes, but you do need to be able to stack up enough small wins to find that momentum and a reason to keep going. Right. If you're not getting any form of a dopamine hit with any goals that you're achieving, it's going to be impossible. Like people are like, oh, I'm 300 pounds. I want to lose 100 pounds. Lose one. Lose one and do it again and again and again, and you'll be there, right? But I think people just look at it too big picture, and I struggle with that myself too. I'm working on it, but just take the small step and do it over and over and over again.
So does that put you in like analysis paralysis or fear, or what is that feeling?
I feel like it's like teetering on the edge, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We were talking about this earlier, right? Everyone knows what they need to do, but you don't do it. And the only reason why is lack of urgency, right? Lack of that reason to why you want to do it, right? Like if it's life or death, you're going to do it. But that's the thing is it's, especially the way we live, it can be so comfortable just laying in bed, showing up to your 9 to 5, eating comfort food, you'll be fine. And you're not going to die that way, right? Like you can live like that. It's not how I want to live though. But I have to make that such a like ugly lifestyle in my head that I have no choice but to get out of it.
Yeah, right. Time is a really, for most people it's not actually, but for me, time is a really good incentive, right? Like just seeing it go by, right? Like just like what you said, like living that way probably won't kill you, but the time's gonna move very quick, and then you're gonna look at your life and you're gonna be like, what's left? I wrote something last night on Facebook. I said, if you peaked in high school, congrats on your Lifetime Achievement Award.
I like that.
How many of your friends peaked in high school?
I don't know. I think a few of them might have peaked in college.
Peaked in college.
Yeah.
It's not any more impressive.
Yeah, no, that's not a way to live.
peaking in high school, like I call that Uncle Rico. Remember the movie Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah.
His uncle?
Yeah.
That's like the ultimate peaking in high school, right? I could throw a football over the mountains.
Back when I was your age.
Yeah, right. Oh, when I was in varsity football, like, dog, you're bald. Well, I can't throw too much shade at that. You're bald with a beer gut and you're on your second marriage, like you peaked in high school, bro. It's not anybody else but you at this point. That's funny. 10 years from now, what does the last name Jenkins mean?
Wow. Well, hopefully 10 years from now, the last name Jenkins is me as a father.
Oh.
And I would love to be the best father possible. Like I said earlier, I've seen what I don't want to be in a father. And I think I have a pretty good understanding as what I want to be as a father. And my goal is to put that into play as much as I can, right? And nothing that I want to do, I do love, like I am here to impact people, but the only reason I'm as hungry as I want to be and as hungry as I am is because I want a family, right? If I was going to be by myself, I'll go get a little minivan and I'll go around the world for the rest of my life, right? But I got goals and it ain't cheap. So my family is going to be the thing. So 10 years from now, the last name Jenkins, get after it, work hard, nice to everybody, never mad over bullshit. You are just a genuine guy. There's a certain, I've met a few, like a very, very slim picking of men in my life. That's a badass dude. That's what I want to be.
Nice.
You don't even have to speak to me. You can just look at them and be like, yeah.
Are you friends with most of the people that you went to high school with still?
I have like my rocks, like my close circle, and then just acquaintances.
What are they doing?
They're all finishing up school right now. So if I was in school, I would be graduating probably this year. So they're all kind of just finishing up the school. But they're working or schooling. But,
nice.
Yeah.
Do your friends, do you think the people you hold closest to you, do you think they push you?
Absolutely. And actually, my buddy I'm seeing after this, he's probably one of the biggest impacts on my life in terms of wanting to really get out there and push my potential. He got me my brokerage when I was 18. He taught me a little bit about money. He just kind of opened my eyes to what, to me, was like, oh, that's cool that you guys can live that life. He was like, no, bro, go get it. You know? And we're both in the same, I mean, me and him are in the same boat. We're trying to get there. Like, we're not there yet. But he really, really opened up my eyes to that. Mm-hmm. And my friends support what I do, and they might not see the vision, but I don't want them to, right? It's not their vision, it's my vision.
Right.
I don't need them to see my vision. I just need them to be willing to let me pursue that and don't bring me down in that process.
Somebody that's your age that's watching this right now, and there's a lot of guys your age that are, you know, they're probably on their first or second job in their 20s, right? And they're starting to realize, like, man, this might not be it. There might be more, you know, but they're obviously, it's risk. There's decisions they have to make, urgency, like you said earlier. So talking to another person in their early 20s that is considering like where their life is headed, what's your advice?
I'd say that there is more. There is a lot more than what you deem to be achievable. And I feel like that's the same for me too. Like, I have very high expectations, but there's always more out there. And I think you really need to take the time to look at yourself, look at who you want to be and who you are now, and try to fill that gap as much as you can, right? Every single day, every single opportunity you get to become a better person, take it, right? Grow yourself in every aspect you can, and decide if you want to take the hard route. And if you do, burn the boats, and there's no going back. Because I've struggled with this, and I'm slightly getting over it now, of trying to hold on to that comfort and the way that you kind of grew up thinking of living, and just get after it. Like, you really just have to just let it go and just run with it. And if you don't get there, you keep going. I always tell people plan B is to make plan A work. I like that.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. Gary Vee talks about, you know, if you're in your 20s, he's like, get reckless, take risks, fuck up, fail. You know, you have to be fearless in your 20s. And I truly believe that. When we first spoke, I said, man, if I would have started doing this at your age, like, who knows what I could have created. You know, I got a late start. You know, we call, you know, Jake and I and all the guys in leadership, we say we're the comeback kids, right? Because we all like fucked our lives up and then made a huge comeback. But staying focused at your age and actually like getting really, really dialed into your vision and the work ethic that it's going to take to get to where you want to be is it'll be monumental for the rest of your life. Whether you stay an online coach for the next 10 years or whether you build that and you realize like, okay, I know how to structure a business. I know how to collect payments, set up LLCs, do taxes, structure offers, sell the offer, continuously, report back for referrals and things like that. I know how to do marketing. I know how to do email marketing. I know how to do all of those things. So in your 20s, regardless of I don't think anybody's looking to like retire from online coaching. Maybe not, right? At one point, I could have pictured myself saying, all right, if I wouldn't have tried to grow and stuff like that, I probably could have put a lot of money aside and set myself up for something down the road. But I wanted to continuously reinvest into my personal brand. And it's turned out to work out really well for me. But at the same time, setting yourself up with your first business, which is online coaching, which is fantastic because there's really no overhead, right? You pay for your initial direction and your mentorship and stuff like that, and then you get going and you take your bumps, you take your bruises, you take your licks, you take the rejection and all of that, but it turns you into a different type of man. Are you seeing that already?
Absolutely. You start to look through a different lens, and something like being down here, right? You just kind of get a taste as to what's out there. And you start to realize that the old way of life will not work, right? And people are like, oh, people don't change, people change, right? And I'm sure you can say that for yourself and a lot of people you know. People can change, and you still got the same name, you're still the same person, but who you are, the energy you move around with, the people you surround yourself with, the way you interact with the world, all that can change. And I've really seen that I have changed a lot. I have a lot more change to do, but I'm so stoked because there's just so much potential there, a lot of hard work with it, but I wouldn't change it for anything.
Mm-hmm. People do change. If you would have known me years ago, I was a totally different mindset, totally different person. You know, I always had the same heart, the same care. People liked me the same, but I was hiding, wearing a mask every day, all of that. Found my authenticity, right? Found service and completely changed my life. And it's so funny to think when I post on Facebook, my Facebook is mostly friends that I grew up with, right? Or people that I knew from my prior life. And I try to post and think of their perception, not that I really care, but if people roll their eyes at things I say, saying, oh, that's the same guy that used to blow lines off the bathroom at the club and stuff like that, I'm not that man anymore. I found rock bottom. I hit it like fucking hard. You would have thought my birthstone was rock bottom, right? And that level of despair can do one of two things. One of three things, really. It can kill you, ultimately. You can allow it to beat you and become whatever, or you can bounce back higher than ever. And when I saw that, I realized everything that I didn't want to be, and I killed that man. And I think a lot of people need to realize like how bad it can get to kill that man that they once were and come back as a new man, a man that knows what he doesn't want for his life, and more importantly, knows what he does want for his life. And killing that man is scary because it's lonely. It's really fucking lonely. But once you find your authentic self and once you start to show that you care, you start to attract other people that want more of that in their life, or that have that in their life and want to be around that. And it can completely set the tone for your life differently. So when I do posts like that now, I'm able to say, well, I've consistently shown 4 years of positivity, of breakthrough, of lives changed. People change. I love what you said about that too. If somebody's looking for you and they want to work with you as a coach or have you coach them, where would they find you?
Find me on Instagram, bronsonjenkins.figureItout. That's FITGURE it out.
How'd you come up with that name?
I was sitting there, I'm like, damn, I need to figure out a name. I'm like, I need to figure it out. And then I was like, damn, figure it out, figure out your fitness. I was like, okay. And then I'm over here looking, is this taken, searching all these lists, I'm like, there's no way. And I was like, okay, I'm sold. I was like, built by Bronson Fit. No, that's trash. Figure it out.
I have a funny story for you.
Mm-hmm.
My first punk rock band in high school, our guitar player was the bass player of a massive, massive punk rock band. But my first punk rock band in high school was called Fail to Figure. And it was because we failed to figure out a name.
That's wild.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I love that. Working with you, what does that look like?
Working with me, we take the time, find out who you are, find out who I am, find out where we can meet, find out where it is you want to get to, find out how to leave the old you in the past, get you on the right track, get your workout style in, obviously get you eating right, everything you need to succeed within fitness, and find a way to translate that into the rest of your life.
Wow.
Turn you into the best version of yourself you can.
I think that anyone looking for a coach like you would be very happy with the type of man you are. And I've learned this about you, since the day I met you. Balls, risk, determined, drive. Most kids your age are dicking around. They're dicking around wondering if this is going to be the next job for the next 3 or 4 years, and then whatever, they're moving on. You're not that guy. And that's a great leader. Anybody looking for a coach like that needs to understand that you want to be coached by somebody who is bold, honest, driven, has the physique that you want to have, has the mindset that you want to have, has the habits that you want to have. It's very, very important. Any final words for somebody that's looking to grow?
I would say if you're looking to grow, the last thing I would leave with is truly take a look at who you are now and take a look to what you've changed to get to where you are now. Find out where it is you want to get to and then bridge that gap. Right? Take the steps that you know you need to take. You know what it is. Right? Everyone knows what it is. Stop eating this shit. Stop fucking around on the weekend. Stop consuming this bad information. Find something that you know you want to do. Find out how to do it. Work with people who can help you get there. Surround yourself with the people you want to live like, and just create the dream life. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. Right? We're here to grow. You're here to become the best version of yourself. Right? I've heard this many times where they say, if at the end of your life you're on your deathbed and a man comes up to you and it's the best version of you, if that's not my twin, I failed. Right?
I love that.
They talk about heaven and hell. Heaven is you show up and you see that man and it's a mere reflection of you. Hell is you are like, who's this stranger?
Wow. I'm just going to end it right there. Guys, if you like what you saw, make sure you click subscribe. Make sure you go check out Bronson. We'll put all of his tags and handles right down below. Make sure you guys shoot us some love in the comments, the likes, all of that good stuff. We really appreciate that. And we'll catch you next time on the Justin Wenzel podcast. Thank you so much.